So I saw over the weekend.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, Usher released the film.
Right, but I was gonna say that in
Okay, then my bad, player. I apologize. Please go ahead. I'm sorry.
over the weekend on Thursday, um, Usher's film came out. His
Mhm.
concert film is called Rendezvous in Paris, and it is like I said, it's his concert film. It was a limited run from September 12th to September 15th. So if you missed it, you missed it. Uh,
Now that was hate for those who weren't sure. If
no.
you're listening and not watching, no, what I did
Oh.
just now, that was hate for the record.
Yeah, so if you missed it, you missed it. But I saw it. I was
Okay,
going to take
how
photos.
long was it?
It was an hour and a half.
Okay, short and sweet,
Short,
hopefully.
short and sweet. I appreciated there were no previews.
Really?
There were no previews. No. It was
Hmm.
like a little. It
I
was
feel
like
like
a.
it was the same way with Beyonce.
I don't know. I never made it to Beyonce,
Okay, it's fine. Go ahead.
but there were no previews,
Hmm.
and there was like a little Usher video in the beginning, but then it was just the show. It started. I did see. I did see the Taylor Swift film. The only reason I'm bringing up Taylor Swift is because I don't have. That's what I have to compare it to.
Okay,
And I know about the Beyonce film, but I have not seen it, so I don't want to lie.
no, that's understandable. I understand.
Um, it is my so from what I saw with the Taylor Swift, and this was my point in bringing those up is that this was different from those.
Okay.
Um, the Taylor Swift thing was her concert, and that was it.
Yes.
Beyonce did the concert and behind the scenes.
And also with Beyonce, it was not one concert. It was footage from the tour in total. So even certain songs, the footage would switch. And you
Okay,
know that because also the outfit
the
was totally
outfits were
different,
switched.
even as the lyric was the next lyric, for example.
Right. And Taylor Swift was not like that. It was her final show that she had done in LA.
Hmm.
So Usher did something a little different, which I really appreciated. And I don't know. I tried to ask myself, what would JD think? I was trying to decide. I think he would have really loved this concept or he would have really hated it. I can't decide which one.
Well,
But
we'll
I'll
never
tell
know.
you what he did.
Okay.
He kind of turned it into a movie. And I know it's a movie, it's a concert film, whatever, but he kind of turned it into a theatrical presentation, meaning he built a story around the show. And so
Oh, okay.
there's video outside of the actual show that is like it reminds me of one
A
of
girl that
those
you once knew.
I see what you did there. It reminds me of one of those shows. Um, you ever watch one of those shows or movies where it's like about a detective or like somebody who from like maybe the 1940s or whatever, and they've got on their top hats and their long
Yeah.
coats, and the
Yes.
person is kind of like everybody's inside of the nightclub or the lounge or whatever, but the person is outside and they're narrating from the outside, watching everyone go, all the goings on outside of the spot. That's kind of how this was. He was, so it wasn't people at the lounge, but he was narrating in that very same way.
Okay.
There were, was it 5 parts? So there's like a scene that he actually filmed, a scene, and then it says part un. I don't speak French.
It was supposed to be French, right?
I know Spanish. I don't know French. But there's
They're
part
cousins.
one, and then so he's telling the story about this girl, and it's like a whole thing, and then it goes to the first act, if you will, of the performance, and then it cuts to another theatrical scene. And then it tells you it's part two, and it goes back to the concert. So it did that, and at the end, like, he closes out the story. I thought that was really interesting to build a story around it, to sort of give it a theme. Um, so that was cool. I like that he gave us something different. To just behind the scenes footage is really cool, and I always appreciate that. But to just give us a show, I think could have went straight to TV. So I like the fact that he did something a little bit different with it. The show itself, man, I wish I went to Paris. I wish I went to Paris to see Usher. What an incredible show. I knew people had talked about it, and obviously we've seen videos of his recent shows in the last couple of years and things he's done with the roller skates and just all of the performances really, and just to watch it all and have it not be a 30-second TikTok video, but to watch the entire show as one was really cool. And he did a phenomenal job. I'm sorry that people now are saying that his US tour is a little lackluster, because the people who went to see him in Paris got one hell of a show. That is clear. And I do think my sister and I were talking about this. We went together. We were like, maybe he's just tired now. Like maybe
Well, I saw
he's been
rave
going.
reviews about the New York shows.
Yeah, people seem to love the New York shows, but I also think that New York bias kicks in. We love it when you bring out people who are from New York to be a part of the show. We don't
Valid
ever
point.
complain about that.
Right.
So I feel like, and maybe the energy. Listen, I always say when I go to concerts outside of New York, I always feel like the energy is just not the same. So, and that's been my experience. I haven't gone to every major city to see concerts, but I've gone to a couple, and I always feel like New York is the crowd is always a lot more excited. So that could be part of it too. That completely changes your concert experience.
Right.
So okay, let me get into specifics now of the show, because I think this
break it down.
important.
Break it down.
So the show is a cross between being at the strip club, being at a burlesque show,
Okay.
and being at a roller rink.
Okay, sounds about right.
Somehow they were able to meld it all together in a way that just worked.
Okay.
I don't think that this concert film is for children. There is a lot of ass.
I'm assuming not Usher's ass.
Not Usher's ass, but one very thick and one very well endowed, voluptuous woman. Not one, but there was one who was the focal point of she was clearly the star stripper. At one point he says, well, have you guys ever been to Atlanta? And not everybody answered. And then he goes, well, I'm about to bring Atlanta to you. And that's when the stripper part of the show starts. And it kind of continues throughout the rest of the show, where you're seeing her in different places. She's doing splits. She's upside down.
Was the first song where she was stripping, quote unquote, was it Love in This Club?
No, it was Bad Girl.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Love in This Club had already happened, I believe. But it was Bad Girl. And she got on her stripper pole, and she was hanging upside down, and she was shaking that ass, and she was doing all the things. I thought it was a cool show. I would have never dreamed that up, that blend of different things, but I thought it was done well. My anxiety was through the roof when all of them were on stage with the roller skates. I was like, I know it's gonna be okay, but how do they do it? Because there's a bunch of them just on their roller skates on the stage going around and around, and he's in there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this could totally turn into injury.
Right. But they survived.
They survived. They did. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been nervous. I mean, I feel like if something went wrong, it just wouldn't have been in the film.
I know that.
But, you know, you couldn't help yourself.
Right. Yeah, that was basically the show. I thought it was great. I recommend, if it ever makes its way to streamers or whatever, to watch it. Probably not with your children, but
Adults only.
Adults only. I feel like it's, music was good. The song selection was good.
What was your favorite performance of the film?
My favorite performance. I'm biased, so I have to say no. I was gonna say You Got It Bad.
Okay.
But he also didn't do the kick the water thing that I like that he does in the video. And I remember thinking to myself at the end, he could have, because there was like water things that happened in the show. And I just felt like, why didn't why didn't you do this?
Okay.
But I would say it was it You Don't Have to Call?
With the roller skates, I assume?
No, You Don't Have to Call just felt really nostalgic.
But I'm saying, what were they roller skating? Because in the video, he's got the sneakers from our childhood, well, from our teenage years, whatever rollies I think they were called or some shit.
Yeah, I don't recall them roller skating during You Don't Have to Call. I don't remember all the songs they did the roller skates for. They did them for a couple songs, and then they left, and then they came back out with them at some point in the show. So
Okay.
it wasn't for a long period of time that they were on roller skates. This one girl who I guess she's like the star ballerina roller skater. She was amazing. She was so good. She was twirling around on the skates and doing all kinds of dainty things that ballerinas do. I just thought that was super cool.
Nice.
But yeah, it was good. I would recommend it. I think you would like it. I know you weren't, interested in seeing it, but I think you would like it.
Got you. Well, perhaps if it goes to streaming websites, platforms, whatever they're calling them now, maybe I'll check it out. Who knows?
Maybe. Sure.
What do you rate it? 1 through 10?
I would give it a 9.
Oh, that's really high. Okay.
I thought it was really creative to build a story around it. And I haven't seen that yet. And I think I don't know, I just think it was different from doing the behind the scenes stuff, which I think we see a lot of times when we see even Ariana Grande, which I said I would get to one day. But even Ariana Grande kind of does her performances, but then there's all of this behind the scenes footage. And again, if you're a fan, that's amazing footage. You want to see that. It's interesting. It's interesting to see them in their natural habitats, because a lot of times you'll see them like I thought it was funny that she was driving like to whatever show they had. She was with her people and she was the one driving, Ariana Grande. And I thought that was so interesting. I was like, oh, so she just drives herself? It was like a really regular, really normal thing. Another scene that I thought was really interesting was Mariah Carey was asking other celebrities to do a video to All I Want for Christmas. And so she found out like while she was on tour, and she had to make a quick video for Instagram.
Nice.
And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Mariah Carey wants me to do this, like fangirling. And then they hear back that she loved the video, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, she loved my video!" So stuff like that is cool. It's
Those candid moments.
yeah, yeah. But I thought this was just different. This was unexpected. So
Yeah.
I like that. I like that he took that route. Yeah. So it was good.
Sweet.
Good.